Everyone believed the weakest Omega had nothing to offer, until a forgotten power awakened and changed the fate of an entire kingdom. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small request for you. If you enjoy emotional fantasy stories filled with destiny, courage, and unexpected heroes, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our newest stories. It only takes a moment. It is completely free, and your support helps us continue bringing you more dramatic and unforgettable journeys like this one. Before we begin, share in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is in your part of the world right now. We love discovering how far these stories reach and knowing who is joining us for this incredible adventure. Now, let us begin the story of the weak Omega and the golden wolf that changed everything. The entire royal court laughed when the weakest Omega stepped into the sacred chamber, but they stopped smiling when the golden wolf appeared beside her. For generations, the Silver Moon Kingdom believed power belonged only to those born with strength, status, and a powerful wolf spirit. Alphas ruled from the highest towers of the kingdom, and Omegas were expected to remain in the background, supporting those chosen by destiny. But no one had ever imagined that the greatest mystery in their history would awaken through someone they had already forgotten. Her name was Clara Whitmore, and for most of her life, she had been known as the weakest Omega in her pack. She could not display the impressive abilities that others admired. She did not come from a noble family. She did not have the confidence of warriors or the influence of royal bloodlines. To many people, Clara was simply someone who would never matter. Every gathering reminded her of the same painful truth. Others were chosen. Others were celebrated. And she was always the person standing quietly at the edge of the room. Yet Clara had something that many powerful people had lost. She noticed the small things others ignored. She helped those who needed kindness when no one was watching. She believed every living creature deserved compassion, even when the world had not shown the same kindness to her. Deep inside the ancient forests surrounding the kingdom, Clara often found peace away from the judgment of others. It was there that she discovered a mysterious golden wolf unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The creature was calm, gentle, and carried an ancient presence that felt connected to a forgotten time. While others would have feared such a rare being, Clara only saw a soul that needed understanding. She offered her trust without asking for anything in return. She did not know that this simple act would awaken a secret hidden for centuries. On the day of the royal moon ceremony, every member of the kingdom gathered inside the grand palace hall. The ceremony was meant to honor the strongest wolves and celebrate the future leaders of Silver Moon Kingdom. Noble families stood proudly, expecting another display of power from the chosen alphas. Clara stood among the crowd, hoping only to remain unnoticed. But when the ancient crystal altar began to glow, the entire hall became silent. The royal elders looked at the mysterious light with confusion. The symbols carved into the altar had not awakened for hundreds of years. Then Clara felt a familiar warmth beside her. The golden wolf stepped forward. Gasps filled the chamber as the creature walked toward the sacred altar and stood beside the Omega everyone had ignored. The royal court stared in disbelief. The same people who had called Clara powerless could no longer look away. Even Alpha King Damien Vale, the strongest ruler in the kingdom, watched with a rare expression of surprise. He had seen countless displays of strength, but he had never witnessed anything like this. The ancient records had always spoken of a legendary golden wolf that would return only when the kingdom needed a new path. But no one expected it to choose an Omega. As golden light filled the palace, Clara looked around at the faces that had once dismissed her. She was not seeking revenge. She was not seeking a crown. She simply wanted to understand why this ancient power had found her. And in that moment, the entire kingdom realized a truth they had forgotten for generations. Sometimes the person everyone overlooks is the one destiny has been waiting for. The moment the golden wolf appeared beside Clara Whitmore, the entire Silver Moon Kingdom entered a silence unlike anything it had ever known. The royal court, which had spent years measuring worth through power and status, now stood before a mystery they could not explain. Clara could feel every eye watching her, but she did not feel like a chosen hero. She still felt like the same Omega who had spent most of her life trying not to be noticed. The golden creature beside her looked toward the ancient altar with calm, knowing eyes, as if it had been waiting for this moment for centuries. The royal elders quickly searched through forgotten records, hoping to understand what had awakened inside the palace. The golden wolf was not mentioned in ordinary history books. Its name appeared only in the oldest legends, stories many believed were nothing more than myths. According to those ancient writings, the golden wolf was a sacred guardian that appeared only during times when the kingdom had forgotten the true meaning of strength. It did not choose the strongest warrior. It did not choose the richest family. It chose someone whose heart remained pure despite hardship. Clara listened quietly as the elders read the old words aloud. She struggled to accept that the legend could possibly be connected to her. All her life, she had been told that she was missing something important. She was told she lacked the qualities that made an Omega valuable. Yet the golden wolf had chosen her without asking about her family name, her abilities, or her position in society. It had seen something that others had refused to see. While the court searched for answers, Alpha King Damien Vale observed Clara from across the hall. He had spent years studying the traditions of the kingdom. He knew every law, every royal responsibility, and every expectation placed upon an Alpha King. But this was something no lesson had prepared him for. The strongest presence in the room did not come from a powerful warrior. It came from an Omega who stood quietly beside a legendary creature. Damien approached Clara with a calm expression. "Do you understand what this means?" he asked. Clara looked at the golden wolf before answering. "No, Your Majesty. I only know that it came to me when I was not looking for anything." Her answer surprised him. Most people would have demanded recognition after such a moment. They would have used the power to change how others viewed them. But Clara seemed more concerned about understanding the golden wolf than receiving praise. Damien began to wonder if the ancient legend had chosen wisely. Later that evening, Clara returned to the quiet forest where she had first met the golden wolf. She wanted to know why a creature connected to ancient royalty had appeared in the life of someone the world considered insignificant. The golden wolf walked beside her through the trees, moving with a gentle presence rather than the pride of a creature with great power. Clara placed her hand near its golden fur and felt the same warmth she had felt before. In that moment, she remembered something important. The golden wolf had not appeared because she became worthy. It appeared because she had always been worthy. The next morning, the royal court announced that Clara would undergo an ancient trial to discover the true meaning behind the golden wolf's return. Many believed the trial would prove she was not prepared. But hidden beneath the palace were secrets that had remained untouched for hundreds of years. And those secrets were about to reveal why the weakest Omega in the kingdom had been chosen by the rarest power their world had ever known. The ancient trial of the golden wolf began beneath the royal palace, in a chamber that had remained untouched for generations. Few members of the Silver Moon Kingdom had ever entered the hidden hall, because the ancient records claimed that only those connected to forgotten traditions could awaken its secrets. Clara Whitmore walked through the stone entrance with the golden wolf beside her, feeling the weight of every person watching her. The royal court had come to witness the trial, but many still believed the outcome was already decided. They saw Clara as the same Omega they had always dismissed. They saw the golden wolf as a mystery that would eventually disappear. But Clara knew something they did not. The creature had never appeared because she was powerful. It had appeared because she had chosen kindness when the world expected her to become bitter. Inside the chamber, ancient symbols covered the walls. Each marking represented a story from the earliest days of the wolf kingdoms. The elders explained that the trial was not designed to measure strength. It was created to reveal the character of the person chosen by the golden wolf. The first challenge was not about defeating an opponent or proving superiority. It was about understanding. Clara was shown memories hidden within the ancient stones. She saw moments when people had been ignored, forgotten, and judged before anyone knew their true story. Instead of turning away, she reached out with compassion. The chamber responded with a soft golden light. The elders watched in surprise. They had expected a display of power, but the golden wolf had chosen something far more meaningful. It had chosen empathy. From the edge of the chamber, Damien Vale observed quietly. As Alpha King, he had been trained to value confidence, control, and strength. Those qualities had helped him protect the kingdom for years. But watching Clara changed something inside him. She was not trying to prove that she was better than anyone else. She was simply showing who she had always been. After the first trial, Some members of the royal court began questioning their own beliefs. They remembered the times they had judged Clara without knowing her. They remembered how easily they had called her weak because she did not display the kind of power they understood. But the golden wolf seemed to recognize a different kind of strength, a strength that could not be measured by titles or reputation. Later that night, Damien found Clara standing in the palace gardens with the golden wolf resting nearby. The moonlight reflected softly across the quiet landscape. "You never wanted this power," Damien said. Clara looked toward the stars. "I wanted to be accepted," she admitted. "But I never wanted anyone to feel small just because I was finally seen." Damien was silent. Her words revealed something he had forgotten as a ruler. True leadership was not about making others recognize your importance. It was about recognizing the importance of others. Before leaving the garden, the golden wolf looked toward the distant mountains and released a quiet golden glow. Clara followed its gaze and noticed a symbol appearing in the sky, one connected to an ancient legend that had disappeared from history. The elders rushed to the palace archives when they saw the sign. They discovered a forgotten prophecy describing a golden wolf choosing an omega who would restore balance to the kingdom. But the final line of the prophecy held a secret no one expected. The golden wolf had not returned only to reveal a chosen omega. It had returned because the kingdom was approaching a moment when old beliefs would be challenged and a new understanding of power would be required. The forgotten prophecy discovered beneath the royal palace changed the way the Silver Moon Kingdom viewed Clara Whitmore and the Golden Wolf. For generations, the royal court had believed that destiny belonged only to those born with powerful wolf spirits and noble bloodlines. But the ancient words revealed a truth that challenged everything they had accepted. The golden wolf was not a symbol of dominance. It was a symbol of balance, appearing only when the kingdom needed someone who could remind its people what true strength meant. As the news spread, the palace became filled with questions. Some were curious, some were uncertain, and some feared what Clara's existence represented. For those who had built their lives around old traditions, accepting a chosen omega meant accepting that they had misunderstood the very foundation of their society. Clara noticed the change around her, but she did not allow the attention to change who she was. She still walked through the palace halls with the same quiet humility she had always carried. She still thanked the servants who helped her. She still listened to those who felt ignored. The golden wolf followed her peacefully, not as a weapon or a symbol of authority, but as a reminder of the compassion that had awakened. Its ancient bond. Meanwhile, Alpha King Damien Vale began searching through the oldest royal archives. He wanted to understand why the golden wolf had returned after centuries of silence. The records revealed stories of a time when Alpha and Omega roles were not defined by superiority, but by cooperation. The first leaders of the wolf kingdoms had believed every person carried a purpose. Strength protected the kingdom, but wisdom guided it. Damien quietly reflected on those words. As a young ruler, he had been taught that an alpha king had to appear unshakable. He believed leadership meant always having control. But Clara had shown him another path. She had faced rejection without losing kindness. She had gained recognition without seeking revenge. She had received a rare power without allowing it to create pride. One evening, Damien invited Clara to the royal library, where they discovered a hidden section of ancient records. Inside was a story about the first golden wolf guardian, a mysterious figure who had appeared hundreds of years earlier during a time of uncertainty. The records described the guardian not as a warrior, but as a guide who helped leaders understand their people. Clara read the words carefully and realized the golden wolf had chosen her for a reason deeper than power. It had chosen someone who understood what it meant to be unseen. Before they could uncover more, the royal court announced a gathering where Clara would be officially presented before the kingdom. Many expected the event to be a celebration, but others saw it as a chance to question her place. The nobles who once ignored her now wanted answers. They wanted to know why an omega had been chosen by an ancient force. As Clara entered the grand hall with the golden wolf beside her, she felt the same nervousness she had felt before. But this time, she was not standing there as someone hoping to be accepted. She was standing there as someone who understood her own value. The golden wolf looked toward the ancient symbols above the throne, and the entire hall began to glow with golden light. A hidden message appeared, revealing that the return of the golden wolf was only the beginning. The kingdom was not facing a test of strength. It was facing a test of whether it was ready to change. The grand hall of the Silver Moon Palace had never been so quiet. Every member of the royal court gathered beneath the ancient crystal lights, waiting to hear the truth behind the golden wolf and the Omega who had been chosen by its sacred power. For years, these halls had belonged to tradition, where strength and bloodline determined a person's place. But now, Clara Whitmore stood at the center of the room, not as someone who had earned approval from others, but as someone whose true worth had finally been revealed. The golden wolf stood calmly beside her, its golden presence filling the chamber with a gentle warmth that reached every corner of the palace. The royal elders presented the ancient records before the court. They revealed that the golden wolf had not appeared for hundreds of years because the kingdom had forgotten the values that once created its foundation. The first guardians of the wolf clans believed that power was not meant to separate people. It was meant to protect, guide, and bring understanding between those who were different. Clara listened carefully as the words echoed through the hall. She thought about all the years she had spent believing she was not enough. She remembered every moment when others judged her before knowing her heart. But now she understood that those experiences had given her something valuable. They taught her how important it was to see people who felt invisible. Across the room, Damien Vale watched the reactions of the royal court. Some nobles looked amazed. Others looked uncomfortable. They had spent their entire lives believing that an Omega could never hold a place of importance. But the golden wolf had chosen Clara without caring about the rules they had created. Damien stepped forward and addressed the court. For too long, we believed strength was only found in power, he said. But the ancient guardians saw something we forgot. A kingdom is not protected only by those who are strong. It is protected by those who understand why strength matters. His words surprised many people, especially those who knew how firmly he had once followed the old traditions. Clara looked at him with quiet appreciation. She realized the Alpha King was changing, not because he had lost his strength, but because he had discovered a greater purpose for it. Later that evening, Clara returned to the palace gardens with the golden wolf beside her. She looked at the peaceful kingdom below and wondered how something she once considered a weakness had become the reason she was chosen. The golden wolf approached an ancient tree at the edge of the garden, where a hidden symbol appeared beneath the silver moonlight. Clara placed her hand near the marking and felt a connection to something far older than herself. A forgotten memory from the ancient wolves appeared before her. She saw a time when the first Alpha leaders and Omega guardians worked together to create balance throughout the kingdom. The vision revealed that the golden wolf was not simply a rare creature. It was a sacred bond between two paths that had once been united. When the vision ended, Clara realized the truth. The golden wolf had not returned to replace the Alpha King. It had returned to remind the kingdom that no single person could carry the future alone. Meanwhile, Damien discovered another hidden message within the royal archives. The ancient writings spoke of a coming choice that would determine whether the kingdom continued following old beliefs or embraced a new era of understanding. The final words of the message were simple but powerful. The chosen Omega will awaken the heart of the kingdom, but only a wise Alpha King can protect its future. For the first time, Clara and Damien understood that their destinies were connected by something much greater than a legend. The golden wolf had brought them together for a reason, and the next secret waiting to be uncovered would reveal why the ancient power had returned now. The hidden message from the ancient archives remained in Damien Vale's mind long after the royal council had ended. The words were simple, but their meaning carried the weight of centuries. The chosen Omega will awaken the heart of the kingdom, but only a wise Alpha King can protect its future. For the first time, Damien understood that the golden wolf had never returned to choose one person above another. It had returned to restore a balance that the kingdom had forgotten. The next morning, Damien and Clara Whitmore traveled to the oldest section of the royal library, searching for answers hidden within forgotten records. The golden wolf followed beside Clara, moving peacefully through the ancient halls as if it remembered every secret contained within them. The library had been closed for generations, filled with countless scrolls and writings that few had ever studied. As they searched through the dusty shelves, Clara discovered a symbol identical to the one that had appeared in the palace garden. It was a mark connected to the first golden wolf guardian. Beneath the symbol were words written by the ancient guardians themselves. They explained that the golden wolf was not created to serve kings or strengthen armies. It existed to remind leaders that every person in the kingdom carried value. Clara slowly traced the ancient writing with her fingers, feeling a connection to the past. She realized the reason the golden wolf had chosen her was not because she was different from everyone else. It was because she understood something many powerful people had forgotten. She knew what it felt like to be ignored. She knew the importance of kindness because she had lived without it. Damien watched her quietly, realizing how much he had changed since the day they first met. He once believed that a ruler needed to appear perfect and unstoppable. But Clara had shown him that true leadership required something deeper. It required patience, humility, and the ability to understand the struggles of others. As they continued reading, they uncovered the story of the first Alpha King and the first Golden Wolf Guardian. The records revealed that they had worked together to create the original laws of the Wolf Kingdoms. The Alpha protected the people with strength and responsibility. The Guardian protected the kingdom with wisdom and compassion. Neither path was complete without the other. But over time, the history changed. The role of the Guardians disappeared from public memory, and the kingdom began believing that only Alpha power mattered. Clara looked at Damien after reading the final lines. The kingdom did not lose its strength, she said softly. It lost its understanding. Damien knew she was right. The problem was never that one group was stronger than another. The problem was that they had forgotten how different strengths could work together. When they returned to the palace, the golden wolf suddenly stopped near the ancient entrance hall. Its golden glow became brighter, revealing a hidden doorway that had remained invisible for hundreds of years. The royal elders gathered in surprise as the door slowly opened, revealing a forgotten chamber beneath the palace. Inside was a single ancient crystal containing the final message of the first guardians. The words revealed that the golden wolf had returned because the kingdom was approaching its greatest moment of change. But the message carried one final warning. The greatest challenge would not come from outside the kingdom. It would come from those who feared losing the old world they had always known. Clara and Damien looked at each other, realizing that their journey had only reached the beginning. The golden wolf had revealed the truth, but now they had to help an entire kingdom accept it. The hidden chamber beneath the Silver Moon Palace revealed a truth that changed the way Clara Whitmore and Damien Vale understood their destiny. For centuries, the kingdom had believed that the greatest threat to its future would come from outside its borders. But the ancient message revealed something far more difficult to face. The greatest challenge would come from those who feared change. When the royal council learned about the forgotten history of the Golden Wolf Guardian, the palace was filled with uncertainty. Some members of the court accepted the truth immediately. Others struggled to believe that an Omega could hold a place connected to the oldest traditions of the kingdom. They had spent generations believing that power belonged only to those who carried the strongest Alpha bloodlines. Clara felt the tension around her, but she refused to let it turn her heart cold. She remembered what it felt like to be judged without being understood. Because of that, she knew the importance of giving others the chance to change. Damien noticed the way she handled every difficult moment with patience. He realized that this was the exact quality the ancient guardians had protected for centuries. Clara did not seek control. She sought understanding. The royal court eventually gathered in the grand hall to decide the future of the kingdom's traditions. The elders placed the ancient crystal from the hidden chamber at the center of the room, allowing everyone to see the message left by the first guardians. The words appeared once again, reminding everyone that the Alpha King and the Golden Wolf Guardian were never meant to stand against each other. They were meant to work together. A noble member of the court questioned whether Clara truly understood the responsibility connected to such a rare power. The room became silent as everyone waited for her response. Clara looked toward the Golden Wolf before speaking. "I do not believe I was chosen because I am better than anyone else. I believe I was chosen because I understand what it feels like when someone is forgotten." Her answer surprised the court. She did not speak with pride. She spoke with honesty. Damien stepped forward beside her. "A kingdom does not become stronger by ignoring those it considers different," he said. "It becomes stronger when it recognizes the value that was always there." His words carried across the hall, and many began to reflect on the years they had spent judging Clara. They remembered the Omega they had overlooked. They remembered the kindness they had ignored because it did not look like traditional power. As the gathering continued, the golden wolf moved toward the ancient crystal. A golden light filled the chamber, revealing another hidden memory from the first guardians. The vision showed the first Alpha King standing beside the first golden wolf guardian, not as ruler and servant, but as partners protecting the same purpose. The message was clear. The future of the kingdom depended on balance, not division. When the vision disappeared, Clara and Damien understood that their journey was no longer about proving the golden wolf's choice. It was about helping others understand why that choice mattered. But as the ancient crystal faded, one final symbol appeared. It showed a place beyond the kingdom's borders, a forgotten sanctuary where the last secrets of the golden wolf were believed to remain hidden. Clara and Damien looked toward the symbol, knowing that the answers they needed were still waiting somewhere beyond the mountains. The journey beyond the Silver Moon Kingdom began beneath a sky filled with silver clouds and endless stars. Clara Whitmore walked beside the golden wolf through the ancient mountain paths, while Damien Vale followed closely, carrying the responsibility of a king who had finally learned that leadership was not about standing above others. The forgotten sanctuary shown in the ancient crystal had remained hidden for hundreds of years, protected by secrets only the golden wolf could reveal. As they traveled deeper into the mountains, Clara felt the same mysterious connection she had felt since the first day the golden wolf appeared. The land itself seemed familiar, as if a part of her had always known this place existed. Damien noticed her quiet expression and asked what she was feeling. Clara looked toward the distant peaks and answered softly, "It feels like I am returning to somewhere I have never been." Her words stayed with him because he understood that feeling. For years, he had carried the title of Alpha King, but he had always wondered if he truly understood the purpose behind the crown. Together, they continued until they reached a hidden valley surrounded by ancient trees and glowing stones. At the center of the valley stood a forgotten sanctuary covered in the same golden symbols that appeared when the golden wolf awakened. The moment Clara stepped forward, the entire sanctuary responded. The ancient markings began to shine, revealing a path that had been invisible for generations. Inside the sanctuary, they discovered records preserved by the first golden wolf guardians. The writings revealed that the golden wolf was not simply a rare creature. It was a sacred bond created to protect harmony between different parts of the wolf kingdoms. The guardians were never meant to rule. They were meant to remind leaders of the values they should never forget. Clara carefully read the ancient words, discovering that her ancestors had once carried this responsibility. They were not chosen because they had the greatest power. They were chosen because they understood the hearts of others. Clara realized that the qualities people once criticized about her had always been connected to her true purpose. Her sensitivity was not weakness. Her compassion was not something to hide. They were the very reasons the golden wolf recognized her. Damien stood beside her, feeling the meaning of the discovery more deeply than ever before. He remembered the person he had been when they first met. He believed strength meant never showing uncertainty. He believed a king needed to have every answer. But Clara had taught him that wisdom often came from listening and understanding. As they explored deeper into the sanctuary, they discovered a final chamber containing a large ancient mirror made of crystal. When Clara and Damien stood before it, the mirror revealed a vision of the first Alpha King and the first Golden Wolf Guardian. They were not separated by rank or tradition. They worked together to create a kingdom where every wolf had a place. The vision showed that the true purpose of the Golden Wolf was not to replace the Alpha King. It was to guide the ruler toward a better understanding of their responsibility. When the vision ended, a final message appeared across the crystal walls. The kingdom will change when the powerful learn to listen and the forgotten learn their worth. Clara and Damien looked at each other, knowing they had finally uncovered the heart of the ancient secret. But as they prepared to return home, the Golden Wolf looked toward the horizon and released a gentle golden light. Far beyond the mountains, another ancient symbol appeared, revealing that the final answer was not hidden in the past. It was waiting in the future they were about to create. The return to the Silver Moon Kingdom felt different from the journey that had begun days before. Clara Whitmore and Damien Vale carried no treasures from the forgotten sanctuary, no symbols of power that could prove their importance. Instead, they carried something far greater, They carried the truth about a legacy that had been hidden for generations and the understanding that the future of the kingdom depended on compassion as much as strength. As they entered the royal palace, the golden wolf walked beside Clara, its golden presence reminding everyone of the ancient bond that had awakened once again. The kingdom gathered in the grand hall, waiting to hear what they had discovered beyond the mountains. Many who once doubted Clara now looked at her differently. They remembered the Omega they had ignored, the person they had judged without knowing her story. But Clara did not stand before them with anger. She stood with the same kindness that had guided her from the beginning. Damien stepped forward and shared the truth revealed by the ancient guardians. He explained that the golden wolf was never meant to create division between Alpha and Omega. It existed to restore balance and remind the kingdom that every person carried a purpose. For too long, we believed power belonged only to those who could display it, Damien said. But the ancient guardians showed us that true strength is found in the ability to protect, understand, and care for others. The words changed the atmosphere of the hall. Many members of the royal court lowered their eyes, remembering the way they had treated Clara before they understood her. They had called her weak because they only recognized one kind of strength. They had overlooked the courage it took to remain kind in a world that had not always been kind to her. Clara stepped forward and looked at the people before her. "I do not want this kingdom to remember me because of the golden wolf," she said. "I wanted to remember that no one should be forgotten simply because they are different." Her words reached everyone in the chamber. The golden wolf moved closer to her, and its golden light filled the palace with a peaceful warmth. The ancient symbols across the walls began to shine, revealing the final message of the guardians. A kingdom does not become whole when one person rises above others. It becomes whole when everyone is given the chance to rise. From that day forward, the traditions of the Silver Moon Kingdom began to change. Omegas were no longer judged by old assumptions. Wisdom was valued alongside strength. Leaders were reminded that their purpose was not to control their people, but to serve them. Damien continued to rule as Alpha King, but he was no longer the same ruler who believed he needed to carry everything alone. Clara stood beside him as the chosen guardian of the Golden Wolf, not because she wanted a title, but because she understood the responsibility that came with it. Years later, stories of the Golden Wolf were still told throughout the kingdom. Children learned that the greatest heroes were not always the ones born with power. Sometimes they were the ones who endured being overlooked and still chose kindness. The ancient legends no longer spoke only of kings and battles. They spoke of a forgotten Omega who changed the way an entire kingdom understood strength. Beneath the silver moonlight, Clara and Damien stood together before the ancient wolf symbols, knowing that the true magic of the Golden Wolf was never just its power. Its greatest gift was reminding the world that every heart has value, and sometimes the person everyone underestimates is the one who brings hope back to everyone.